it is. Okay? Yo, real quick, have you seen, I don't know if I ever spoke on this, Mr. Andrew Callahan here. After my experience with him is that dude started hitting me up randomly. He's like, yo, I need to talk to Ak. I need to talk to Ak. He had everybody in the world trying to hit me up, like, yo, you got to talk to this guy. I'm like, yo, who is he? I wasn't familiar with who he is. He said, well, this is a guy who, like, he's does some stuff with Channel 5. You ever heard of him? I'm like, no. He's like, well, he wants to do some stuff from Chicago. And I kind of looked at the stuff and I was like, all right, I see kind of what he's doing. But also, I looked at him as a creator, an up and coming creator who is trying to do longer form content, and it looked like he's down to put in the work. The dude wanted to fly like in at the snap of a finger, all the way from Cali to my studio. I think they got right off the plane, rushed to my studio just to do an interview, and they were leaving the same day. Like, why? They want to get the content. I'm like, I like that work ethic. So I said, cool. Adam22 also called me and said, could you he was like, yo, he's like, I think you should talk to him. I don't think he's a bad guy. I said, all right, cool. And yeah, we had the conversation. Now, me personally, let me tell you, these days, I kind of know what it is, especially when people want to talk about certain things. With the exception of my guy, what's his name again, Trapalo Ross. Usually, anybody who wants to talk about the war in Chirac in today's age, they're what we call usually. I call them virtue signaling. I usually say these are people who are up on their soapboxes. They're on their high horse. They're trying to pander to other people like, hey, we have high morals. While look over there, those are people who don't think like us because they're not rational. We're all human beings. Like, even I've even started to a certain point. Not if you're like a fucking mass deranged killer who's loving just doing drill shit and just killing people as a sport. No. But I understand even why some people might say, shit, damn, I'm broke, I'm fucked up, all these other conditions and, social upbringing factors that would lead someone to say, yo, let me try to rob somebody, yo, bro. Like, I kind of understand that a little bit more as I've grown older because society and other factors do factor into stuff, right? But I say all that to say, it quickly dawned on me that Andrew, even though off camera, he seemed very cool. He was relating and he was trying to appeal to that audience. He's trying to appeal to the I am more perfect than thou. By the way, who I think who tries to do that too? Hasanabi. They appeal to that same little, yo, we're like super, let's think about the nuances, about like we don't want to offend. Like, it's kind of weird, but I get it. That is a viable market, and especially if you're white and you don't have a bunch of skeletons in the closet, it is cool to capitalize off that market, even if it's a little bit disingenuous, because sometimes these individuals ain't who they are as what they actually showcase on camera. So I did the interview, and I already know, I kind of feel it. I'm like, because they explained to me, they said this is a Chicago piece, but we can't tell the story of Chicago without the war in Chirac. And I'm like, brother, the war in Chirac isn't drill. Like, if you have the access to go talk to Herb and all these concerts, you don't need to talk to me about the war in Chirac. Matter of fact, I don't even know. I know more about Chicago now than what I did when I was doing war in Chirac. But so I knew off the rip. I said, he's about to go talk to the killers, make them look sympathetic, right? And then he's gonna use the people like me and Adam to look like, yo, these are the guys really profiting off of it. Which, by the way, I wouldn't even have a problem with that if he had done it unilaterally to say, hey, okay, yeah, Akademiks may have covered this, and yes, that might have helped his audience a little bit, but also he's like 1/1,000,000th of the problem compared to the whole infrastructure and industry built on putting out gangsta music. Like, there's a whole industry built on putting out and profiting off gangsta music. And who are those people and how do they look? They are usually of certain religion. Okay, don't Kanye me. And they're definitely white. You get what I mean? But for the people he's pandering to, it doesn't make sense for him to put them under the microscope. It's better if they could throw the Adams and the me under the microscope. So I watched that, and Adam was upset because Adam vouched for him. And I talked to Adam afterwards, and Adam said, I felt this guy snaked me. I felt I welcome him to No Jumper. I even advised you to sit with him. And when he put this thing out, it just wasn't a fair representation of our conversation, of his intention, and anything of the sort. And I said to Adam, Adam, what did you expect? I knew what it was going to be. I knew what it was going to be. Because I could already see who he was pandering to. And when you pander to those people, they, rather than getting to the root of the problem, remember me and that's why I link him up with Hassan. Remember me and Hassan was debating about Chicago. You know what Hassan said? Well, the systematic, the systemic, trying to use all these big words, basically trying to say we can't blame the killers for the killing. Well, we really got to start thinking about the social factors in the like if the government blah blah blah. Like, listen, these niggas are showing off switches every day. What you mean we can't blame them? No. If we think about this, that, and third. Do you know what I mean? So, and Drill, I see you asked, why did I do the interview? Well, he pestered me for a bit, and I did the interview to say, clearly, I'd rather you talk to me than talk about me. And at least I can control the narrative a little bit. And I don't like a bunch of edits and shit to make me look crazy. So I did do it. But again, and I don't have a problem with the content he put out. My whole thing about it is that when these people exist, you have to have a squeaky clean record. Now, time is passing. If you guys don't know, there's a bunch of women who jumped out they came out of nowhere to say that this guy, Andrew Callahan, there is a whole list of people whole list of women who are saying, he sexually, there's some sexual misconduct allegations. Apparently, he would use his status and other things in somewhat of what they call a creepy way to pressure and force and coerce women into having sex. And oftentimes they're saying he was an asshole if he did not have sex with women. To be honest and to be fair to him, though, I don't think they actually say he just had sex with anyone without their consent. I don't think so. But they said he was doing all these things that's why they're calling it sexual misconduct.
I would be making this video, and I'm shaking because I've tried a couple different times and haven't been able to get my point across, but I don't like seeing abusers get platforms. And my abuser, Andrew Callahan, also known as All Gas No Breaks, Channel 5, and whatever his new HBO show's called, I forget, has been plastered all over my news feed, and I've tried to come to him person to person and try to get him to take accountability for what he did, but his version of what happened the night that he assaulted me is so skewed. So I will tell you that he did eventually get consent. And that's the main point, is that he eventually got consent because he wore me down. He told me he needed a place to stay for the night. He had some sort of falling out with one of his crew members or whatever, and I was very clear about the fact that we are not hooking up. He gets in my bed and wears me down to the point where I eventually do agree to do things that I wasn't proud of. And I wasn't proud of them and thought it was my fault for so long that I continued to be nice to him after the situation. He wouldn't leave my house the next morning. And then as time went on and I processed things, I thought, you know what, just because eventually I said, okay, whatever, because I was trying to just get the whole night over with so that it could be morning so that he could leave, it doesn't discount the fact that I told him no. So I told him no so many times prior to this. I said, I'm tired, I'm not really feeling it. I came up with any excuse that I possibly could to just get him off of me. And he still found a way to coerce me into things that I didn't want to do. And this is really hard for me to say. I never thought I would come forward, but it's even more hard to have to relive the trauma that I endured every single day by seeing this man as a social justice warrior, as someone who cares about human rights, get a platform. you shouldn't be supporting him. And at the end of the day, like, I've told close friends of mine, I've tried coming out about this before, and he texted me saying that it basically ruined his life and that his life was over now because of things that I said, and other women have come forward to me, but this is my first time publicly talking about it on a platform like TikTok, because I hope it gets traction. I hope people listen to me. I hope that if something similar has happened to you, that you know that that's not your fault. It wasn't my fault what happened to me, just because I eventually caved. This is so hard to do, but I eventually, I was really hoping that he would eventually take accountability, but he just texted me this skewed version of what he thought had happened, and in that moment, it wasn't fight or flight, it was freeze. I froze, and I couldn't control my body anymore. Not to mention, he got me really drunk that night. He was trying to buy me all kinds of the best kinds of tequila at the dive bar we were at, and a lot of people don't believe me. I've got receipts, I've got photos of us, I've got text messages, but you shouldn't need that. You should believe me, and you should stop supporting Andrew Callahan. Take away his platform.
All right. I never thought I'd make a video like this, but I think there's an important conversation to be had, and I just want to be fully accountable, honest, and transparent with all of you guys. So I'd like to start by thanking every single person who's came out in the past week to speak about different ways in which my behavior has made them feel uncomfortable or pressured during a sexual situation, and to people who said that I've made unwanted advances and had a hard time with rejection. I'm sure this was not easy to do. It's never easy to speak out, and it was hard for me to hear as well, because to be honest with you, up until this point, I didn't even really realize that I had this pattern that had affected multiple people. I'd also like to apologize for my silence. I think that when this stuff first came out, I was in a state of denial and shock. I was, just riding the high from my movie that just came out, and then within 48 hours, I was denounced by my closest collaborators, and my name was printed in 40 different news outlets next to the words sexual misconduct, and I just kind of spiraled into a mental health crisis. I'm okay now, but I don't really think this is about me. This is about the people that I've affected. So I just want to express my complete sympathy, respect, and support for anyone who I've done wrong by. And I really want to do better and be fully accountable for everything that I've done. So that being said, I want to make a few things clear. I've always taken no for an answer. As far as consent, I've never overstepped that line. But I think I want to have a more nuanced and important conversation about power dynamics, pressure, and coercion. Because, like I said, I think for a long time, I was behaving in a way that I actually thought was normal. I thought that, going home from the bar alone made you a loser. I thought that persistence was a form of flattery. And I thought that, if at first somebody was reluctant, they're playing hard to get, just try harder. And if you think someone's feeling you, make a physical advance and see if they go with it. And I think that especially I realized when so many young people, especially young men, rushed to defend me when this stuff first started coming out, that this type of sex pest behavior is normalized. And a lot of people think this stuff is normal when I don't think that it is. And I think that I want to be fully responsible for not having a fluid understanding of consent and what enthusiastic two-way consent looks like.
Now, granted, remember, this matters when this is like the worst thing if you're from the community that he's from, because these are the sit up on a high horse like community. And the point what I'm trying to say is, like, dudes like this, they usually fall on the same sword that they intend to slice the neck of their opposition with. And I'm always very weary of dudes like this. You get what I mean? Because essentially, if you ask me, I think he almost ended his own career because, obviously he's still trying to be this face of this community. So he came out and says, and I played a video, he says, all these allegations are true. And as soon as I heard that, I was like, wait, so none of them chicks was capping. You're exactly the creep that they say you were. He's like, yeah, it's all true. I'm like, all right, well, grand opening, grand closing. What the fuck are we still talking about? So I don't know how he comes back from this, but this is a cautionary tale that this guy, and by the way, I wish nothing but good for him, or really anyone else like that I don't know that well. But this is a cautionary tale that when you start pandering and when you try to be I am one of the the morally sound individuals, and my job will be to point out the scums and the morally corrupt people. When you do that, always remember that you get up like everybody else. You brush your teeth. You bleed like every other man. We all make mistakes. We all don't always exercise the best judgment. And the same way, again, even, and to bring the Warren Chirac back into it, if you've heard me talk about the Warren Chirac, I said, listen, would I have covered the content? Yes. Would I have covered it like I did then if I was doing it now? No. But we all know people have still tried to use that to demonize me, because that's one of the only things they could hold against me, right? I'm not sure if Andrew and that community believes in redemption stories or forgiveness, because he wasn't about to. They only believe in accountability. He wasn't about to listen to what I'm saying in the sense that, nah, I could have done a little bit better. He's not trying to hear that. He was just like, so do you think you're accountable for people dying? So this is where the hypocrisy comes in. Is my boy going to keep himself accountable? Because these are the same people who would also say, do not give platforms or don't platforms creeps, these and third. Now they're saying you're a creep. If you're going by what your own community is going to say, you got to lie on the sword and now dedicate your whole life to now fighting against the stigmas of weird sexual misconduct, language, and actions by other men like you, and we'll see if it happens. But again, I definitely want to say, and if Andrew ever sees this, brother, this is why being too holy don't pay. Be yourself, my nigga. And everybody is imperfect in their own way or another. If show me a man without faults, and you've just shown me God, and we ain't seen him yet. Everybody got faults. Everybody has, mistakes. Everybody, if we look back at 5 to 10 years ago, how you used to act, probably be some stuff most people would either cringe or be embarrassed about. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, but we're not perfect. And I hate when niggas pander to that white, perfect, higher than thou fan base. And yes, to all them people on that Reddit, because anytime I see some big shit happening, I look if a nigga have a Reddit. Yeah, I found that Reddit, and I was reading them motherfuckers over there. They were crying, oh my God, I bought tickets to his concert, but I no longer can support him. Oh my God, I cannot support him, not in good faith. He was the chosen one. Oh my God. I regret to say I'm leaving the bandwagon. Shut up. Y'all ain't perfect either, man. I don't want them type of supporters neither. If y'all don't see no redeeming qualities in him, maybe even if you're a sport, you should be like, damn, that's kind of fucked up. Let's see if he's actually gonna learn, and let's see if he can still make entertaining content, and maybe I'll still support him. No, you're from the community where you make one mistake, it's over. Let's see. That's why I remember when I know I'm going on tangents here. Remember when the whole Chrissy Teigen thing happened? Cancel culture was raging like a motherfucker, right? And Chrissy Teigen used to be online pointing the mob at whoever she wanted to weaponize them against. That's why I even said anything about her. When 6ix9ine got locked up or whatever, she was posting pictures and stuff making fun of it. One of them depicted a picture of me and 6ix9ine. Of course I felt offended. I responded in like I normally do, okay? When I respond, everybody's mad at me. Why would you talk about this beautiful woman? And I took that. I got suspended from, Complex likes to not call it suspension. They're like, no, Akademiks just took 2 days off. Okay. I took 2 days off from the show. I don't even think Twitch gave a fuck. But Twitch basically came to me. I don't know if I ever told you that. Twitch came to me and was just like, yo, check this out, bro. Since the media is running with this shit so crazy, we kind of got to suspend you. Just because Complex of bitches. They suspended you and it happened over here. So if we don't suspend you, I said, just take a week off, bro. All right, we love you though. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, we got y'all. Yeah, so that happened. I had to take some licks over it. But then, like 2 years goes by, and they turn on Chrissy Teigen for the same thing. Because whoever leads the woke mob will eventually get devoured and demolished by that same mob. You can never be perfect enough. You can never be perfect enough. And when I watched it destroy Chrissy Teigen, she was writing think pieces and op-eds basically saying, yo, like, yeah, I can't even tweet no more. I'm unfulfilled. I'm not happy. And she realized probably in that moment how she used to recklessly use social media to terrorize other people. The people she weaponized was finally terrorizing her. And when people ask me, because everybody start asking me, what do you got to say? Because it's like, oh, this is your moment to shit on her. And I said, no. And the reason why I said no, I said, I have pity for her. Because I remember how that feeling was when you felt everybody was piling on. And I said, I hope now she realizes that what she used to do to everyone else, now that it's being done to her, she would at least think twice. And I think she probably has. I haven't seen much of her, but yeah. But to Andrew, brother, I personally believe this is a byproduct of your image, of you purporting that, and maybe it's not like you've been saying about your personality, but your platform has gained the interest of a bunch of fragile, white, cisgendered, and other gendered, whatever, they, thems, that are so fucking pussy in the sense of they want, use the right pronoun. No, it's a transgender, let them in the bathroom. Like, they're all with all that type of bullshit, right? But those people, as much as they say they're tolerant of people doing whatever they want, they're also the least forgiving and most judgmental when someone probably made a mistake. Because I listened to this Andrew thing, and also he talked to somebody else. And honestly, it don't seem like the dude raped nobody. It seemed like homie was a little bit too pushy while trying to fuck girls. Is that creepy? Duh. But is it some shit where it's like, yo, stop all the horses. He's done. We could never fuck with him no more. Nah, it just kind of means, bruv, I'm glad those women are publicizing their stories. And now what should probably happen is that, dog, if you got a friend or any type of chick not going to be around him, nigga, make sure you there. Because this nigga, he look like when a chick say no, he just still be thirsty for the pussy. Like, that's what it sounds like. Not good. But is it the worst thing in the world? According to his audience, it is. So you're only suffering the fate of what you created, my nigga. You created an entire ecostructure of cisgendered beta males who literally is just trying to live on these progressive social issues and is unforgiving of anybody with any real thought. And they're just kind of programmed to think that there's some moral police of the world that is interesting. They now have to apply that to their creator. It's kind of paradoxical. It's kind of like when the human creates the AI. You seen that recently? The human created an AI, right? Which is artificial intelligence. And the fucking AI tells the human, yo, I'm smarter than you. The human created the robot, and the robot told the human, man, I'm smarter than you, nigga. Exactly. Alrighty, people. What else is going on?